Welcome everyone, Gamer King Tario here, and we have another PlayStation Vita review. Today I'm going to review one of the most anticipated titles on the Vita, Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. Liberation brings an original adventure and the great Assassin's Creed formula to the Vita, and it generally succeeds. In Liberation you play as Aveline, a female lead of many faces, talents, and loyalties, living in New Orleans in the 1700s. I have to hand it to the developers for telling a story from the perspective of one we normally don't get to see in video games. Coming from the American South, the story, period, and theme may hit me a little harder than others who played the game, but Aveline is a character I couldn't help but root for, even as I was stabbing people in the neck. As for the actual story and plot, it's a bit all over the place in good and bad. Some of the characters I generally cared for, and the villains are your typical bad guys who are worthy of getting their throats slashed. Some of the plot twists though I just rolled my eyes at, and others were thinly vague missions to simply make us change locales. The main quest is an excellent length though, and you'll probably get between 12 and 14 hours plus in that alone. There's also a bunch of other things to occupy your time, like a business shipping minigame where you send ships off to different ports and buy and sell the goods to make more money, and there's also a bunch of collecting stuff like diary pages, statues, treasure chests, and finding all of the viewpoints. There's a lot of content here, and most of it is worth your time. In terms of gameplay, Liberation feels like a worthy Assassin's Creed title. Most of the staples of the series are here, like the ability to climb up most anything, running on rooftops, eagle vision, blending in with the crowd, or flying off jumping into hay piles. Very few games on the Vita will bring you the pure joy that Liberation gives you. There is a reason that this series has been a near annual release for years, and that's because the Assassin's Creed formula works, and Liberation does very little to detract from it. That doesn't mean Liberation doesn't try to do some things new beyond the new setting and protagonist. There is a new persona system, where Aveline can transform into an assassin, to a lady, or a slave. Each persona has a different set of abilities. For example, the lady can bribe guards or charm people, but has a very limited weapon abilities and can't climb anything. The slave, on the other hand, can incite riots and blend in with other slaves. Unfortunately, the freedom to use these personas is rather limited. Most of them are predetermined to the mission, but they do add the backstory that an assassin has to wear many masks, and they require you to adapt your gameplay based on the skill set that you have. Overall, the system works, it just could have been implemented better. The questing system in Liberation is your basic talk to a person, head to a spot on the minimap there. There's quite a bit of variety in the goals on the quest though, such as having to follow somebody from a safe distance, assassinate someone without being detected, set up a bunch of booby traps, or just do a full frontal assault. The variety helps take away from the mundaneness of the combat. Each quest also gives you optional objectives to gain a full sync. It could be something like killing a certain person with a musket, or solving a puzzle in a given amount of time. This adds needed challenge to the quest, and it also adds replay value if you miss any objectives. You can always go back and attempt them again at a later day. There are some issues with the gameplay, such as the AI, which has never been a strong part of the series, but when guards can barely see you sometimes, or once when two guards were talking to each other, I shot one of them with a blow dart, and the other just stood there talking to his unconscious body. It kinda takes you out of the world. Graphically, Liberation is greater than the sum of its parts. You could nitpick it to death about blurry textures or blocky models, but it succeeds in spades in bringing the open world feel of the series to the handheld. This is especially true when in the city of New Orleans. Here the city feels like a bustling colony, filled with tons of people going about their day-to-day lives. It really is an achievement on the Vita though. I found myself oftentimes just running along the rooftops looking around. The game also follows the Assassin's Creed formula of setting off to different locales. These look nice too, but I'm always happy to get back to New Orleans. The key complaint is the frame rate though. It absolutely sputters at times as the game tries to process everything. I was able to move past it, but if you're one of those people that can't deal with any type of slowdown, you've been warned. It can get really bad. Liberation also features a multiplayer component, but it's hardly worth mentioning. It feels like it's a cell phone game. I have a video where I discuss the basics of it, and I'll leave a link below in the description if you want more information. Just know that you shouldn't buy Liberation for the multiplayer component. Overall, Assassin's Creed Liberation may not have been the home run killer app Vita fans were hoping for, but don't let expectations stop you from experiencing what is still one of the best games on the Vita despite its shortcomings. Those of you who aren't fans of the original series or you're burnt out on it, you can safely pass or wait for a price drop. For everyone else, you can rejoice that the series' spirit and gameplay have been successfully translated to the Vita. This is Assassin's Creed on the go.